It was past midnight when Daniel came home. The rain had soaked his jacket, and his boots made soft squishing sounds as he stepped onto the wooden porch. He fumbled with his keys, annoyed at the long shift. All he wanted now was a hot drink, a warm blanket, and silence. But when he pushed the key into the lock, the door swung open. Daniel froze. He never left the door unlocked, not in this neighborhood. Not after the last break-in 2 years ago. Carefully he stepped inside. The house was dark, quiet, but something felt wrong. The air smelled different. Wet, like someone had taken a hot shower. Steam still clung to the walls. He closed the door slowly behind him. The living room looked untouched. No broken windows, no signs of a struggle. But on the floor, bare footprints, small, wet, leading from the front door to the bathroom. Daniel moved slowly, reaching into the kitchen drawer and pulling out the closest thing he had to a weapon, a butter knife. Not much, but it made him feel less helpless. His heart thudded harder as he followed the footprints. The bathroom door was half open. Steam poured out in waves. He could hear water running. The sound of a shower. Someone was inside. He raised the knife, gently pushed the door, and peeked in. What he saw made him blink twice. Girl was standing under the hot water, naked, long wet hair sticking to her back. Her skin glowed slightly, not in a normal way. A soft purple hue shimmered across her shoulders, like a neon bruise. She wasn't just human. She turned around. Daniel quickly looked away, stepping back, hand up. I didn't mean to stare. He stammered. The girl didn't scream. She didn't panic. She simply stared at him with wide, glowing eyes. Then, slowly, she reached for the towel hanging on the hook. She wrapped it around her body and stepped out of the shower. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Her voice was soft, shaking. "I just needed to clean myself. I didn't want to scare you." Daniel was speechless. "What are you doing in my house?" he finally asked. "I didn't have a choice," she said. "Your door was unlocked." "No, it wasn't," he replied. She looked away, silent. Then she sat on the edge of the bathtub, pulling the towel tighter. "My name is Vila," she said. "I'm not here to hurt you. I needed water, clean water." Daniel still hadn't lowered the butter knife. Vila looked at it, then at him, and gave a sad smile. "You don't need that," she said. "If I wanted to harm you, I wouldn't be sitting here like this." Daniel hesitated, then slowly placed the knife on the sink. "What are you?" he asked. Vila looked up. Her eyes glowed in the dim light. "Not from here," she answered simply. "Not anymore." She stood up, a little shaky. Daniel noticed bruises on her arms, strange marks like burns or chemical wounds. One of her legs had a deep cut, wrapped clumsily with a strip of cloth that looked like it was torn from some kind of silver uniform. "Are you hurt?" "I've had worse," she said. "Are you alien?" She didn't respond, just nodded. Daniel stepped back. "Why here? Why my house?" "I was being followed. Hunted. I needed to remove something from my body. Something they used to track me. The only way to do that is through heat and water." Daniel blinked. "So, you broke in to take a shower?" "Yes," she whispered. "Because if I didn't, they would have found me. And if they found me, they'd kill anyone nearby." His eyes widened. "You brought danger here. I had no other choice." "I'm sorry." Just then, something crackled in the distance. A strange electric buzz from outside. Like a drone. Or worse. Vel, a single quotes as head shot up. Her body tensed. "They found me," she whispered. "What?" "I left the tracker in your pipes," she said. "They'll know soon. You need to leave." "You're telling me to leave my own house?" "I'm telling you that if you don't, you'll die." Daniel rushed to the window and pulled the curtain. Outside, something moved fast. A dark shape floated over the neighbor's house, scanning the area. "You have 10 minutes, Vila." Sighed. "Maybe less." Daniel turned back to her. She stood there, soaked towel clinging to her body, eyes glowing in fear, but also strength. "Please," she said again, stepping closer, her voice trembling. "I'm so dirty. I had to wash. I had to get it out." And then she pulled the towel slightly, revealing something on her back. It wasn't skin. It looked like metal, fused into her spine. Comment below. What's that thing in her back? And why does it look human-made? Daniel didn't sleep that night. He sat on the floor across from Vila, the strange girl who had snuck into his home just to shower. Now she was wrapped in a blanket, resting her back against the wall, breathing slow but not asleep. He couldn't stop staring at her back. That thing fused into her spine. It didn't look alien. It looked like someone had welded it into her skin. The edges were raw, burnt. "What is that?" he finally asked. Vu opened her eyes. Her voice was calm. "It was part of the control system. A limiter. They use it to stop me from doing what I was born to do, which is adapt." Daniel didn't understand, and she saw the confusion in his eyes. "Where I come from, we change, we heal, we learn. Fast, too fast. They were scared of that, so they put metal in our bodies, cut our instincts out." She looked down at her hands. "The water helps reset us. But it hurts too." Daniel blinked. "So you weren't just cleaning your body?" "I was cleaning myself," she said, "inside and out." Daniel stood and walked to the sink to pour a glass of water. The pipes hissed strangely. He paused. When he turned the tap, the water came out glowing faint blue. "What the hell?" Vila stood too, wincing slightly. "It's the tracker. When it burns out, it releases into water. They'll trace it. That's why I needed to leave it behind. In my pipes?" Vila looked at him gently. "I'm sorry, I didn't have another option." He rubbed his face. "So they'll come here?" "They already know," she whispered. "They're waiting." Just then, the house creaked, not from wind, from wake. Daniel looked up at the ceiling. His attic hatch was open. He never opened the attic. Vila's eyes sharpened. "Something's here." Daniel ran to grab his flashlight and slowly climbed the attic ladder, heart racing. The attic was dark. Dust floated in the beam of his light. For a moment, nothing moved. Silence. Then dash click. A red light blinked in the corner. He turned and gasped. A small black sphere floated in the air. No bigger than a baseball. It had no wings. No sound, just a cold red eye blinking at him. "Down!" Vila screamed from below. The orb fired. A blue blast hit the flashlight out of Daniel's hand. He dropped, half falling down the ladder, rolling across the hallway floor. Vela raised her arm. Her skin glowed, and the water from the bathroom sink rose into the air, forming a shield. The orb fired again. The water hissed but held. With a snarl, Vila slammed her hand forward. The water shot like a bullet, smashing into the orb and knocking it back into the attic with a crash. Silence returned. Daniel was breathing hard. "Okay, what was that?" "A scout," she said. "They always send one first, to confirm." "Confirm? What?" "That I'm still alive." She stepped closer to him, her glowing eyes now calm but serious. "You saved me. That means you're part of this now." Daniel laughed dryly. "I didn't exactly volunteer." Vila gave a small smile. "That's how most heroes start." He looked at her, really looked. She was different. Alien, yes, but not evil. Not violent. "I'm not a hero," he said. "You're human," she replied. "That's close enough." Double quotes. Suddenly boom. The power went out. The lights shut off. Total darkness. From outside, a deep hum filled the night air. Then a voice, robotic, echoed through a speaker. "Property identified. Hybrid signal confirmed. All humans must vacate. Lethal sweep in 10 minutes." Daniel turned to Vila. What's a lethal sweep? She swallowed. They erase everything. You mean the house? I mean the block. He stepped forward. Then we leave, now. Vila shook her head. I'm not ready. I haven't purged all of it yet. Daniel looked at the glowing sink water, the burned bathtub, the fried drone upstairs. You're saying if we leave now, they'll follow the glow in your blood. She nodded. And kill us both. Daniel stared at her, then back at the glowing water, then made a decision. Then we finish cleaning you. Vila blinked. Why? Because you asked, he said. Simply, you begged. Please, I'm so dirty, remember? She looked at him, quiet. Moved, but when we're done, Daniel added. You're telling me everything. Vila gave a slow nod. Deal, but just then. A second voice echoed from outside the house. It was male. Rough, familiar. Daniel Clark, step out now. Or, we'll drag you out. Daniel's blood went cold. That voice. It was his own. Comment below. Why is there a second Daniel outside? Is it a clone? Or something worse? Daniel stood frozen. Outside through the window, he saw himself. Same face, same height, same voice. Even the way he stood was like watching a mirror. Except this version was wearing black armor and glowing with red lights. Daniel. Clark, the voice repeated. Step out. You are harboring a dangerous hybrid. You have 30 seconds. Daniel turned to Vila. That thing has my voice. She was already moving, grabbing the emergency bag he kept by the back door. They scanned you, copied you. They use your DNA to make a safe version, one that obeys. Daniel's stomach turned. They made a fake me? Worse, Vila said. They made a version that hates you. Because you helped me. Suddenly, a deep buzzing sound filled the room. From the front yard, 4 black machines hovered into view. Not helicopters. Not drones. These were sleek, silver, with arms that folded in and out like knives. One of them scanned the house. Hybrid. Energy confirmed. Lethal sweep authorized. Vila's breathing sped up. Her skin shimmered faintly. Daniel grabbed her arm. We have to move. No, she whispered. They'll fire if we run now. I can distract them. But I need a few seconds. Daniel watched her step into the kitchen, dip her hands into the glowing water. And suddenly the liquid rose again, floating in front of her like jelly. Her eyes flickered. I'm going to use this to blind their sensors. Is this safe? No, she replied. But it's better than dying. The second Daniel outside raised his hand. 5 seconds, Daniel Clark. Vila stepped to the center of the living room. Daniel watched as she whispered something in a strange language, and the water exploded into light. A brilliant blue flash burst through the windows. Outside, the drones whirred and jerked, flying in confused loops. The fake Daniel staggered back, clutching his face. Now! She yelled. Daniel didn't think. He grabbed Vila's hand and ran out the back door, through the rain, through the overgrown garden, past the old wooden fence. Behind them, the house began to rumble. A deep humming sound shook the ground. Vila pulled Daniel behind a tree just in time. Boom! The house exploded into a quiet white light. No smoke, no fire. Just a strange silence, like the whole place had been erased. Nothing remained, not even ashes. Daniel's hands shook. They erased it. My house. Vila nodded slowly. They don't just kill, they delete. But why? Me? I'm not military. I'm not rich. I'm nobody. Vila looked at him, serious now. You helped someone they see as less than a person. That makes you dangerous. Daniel turned to look at her, really look. Her skin was shimmering faintly again, almost beautiful under the moonlight. But her eyes held pain, he remembered. Her words, I just needed to be clean. This wasn't just a girl sneaking into a stranger's home. This was someone running for her life because her existence was a problem. Daniel stood up, still shaking. Where do we go now? Vila glanced up. There's a safe zone, far from the cities. Underground. I don't know if it's still active, but it's our best shot. How far? 50 miles, maybe more. Daniel nodded. Then we'd better start walking. But before they could move, something thudded in the distance. Then again, like heavy metal footsteps. Daniel turned. Of the ruined glow of the house, something huge emerged. It was another drone, but this one walked like a man, 9 feet tall. Massive legs, a cannon arm on the left, and something like a cage on its back. And inside that cage, floating in clear blue gel, was another Vila, perfect copy. Eyes closed, sleeping. Daniel's mouth opened. What the hell is that? Vila's voice was cold. That's their backup. If I escape, they activate her. You mean they'll replace you? Yes, she said. And then they'll send her to kill me. The giant drone raised its cannon. Vila grabbed Daniel's hand. We run. Comment below. Can 2 versions of Vila exist? And what happens if the fake one wakes up? Asterisk. The rain fell harder as Daniel and Vila ran. Behind them, the giant mech, the hunter frame, stomped through the trees like a walking tank. Each step sent tremors through the muddy ground. Its glowing red eye scanned left and right, searching for heat, for sound. For her, Daniel's breath was ragged, his legs burned. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a runner. He just worked. Night shifts and drank too much coffee. But now, he was sprinting through the woods with an alien girl whose blood glowed. Keep low, Vila whispered. It sees movement. They dove behind a fallen tree. Daniel's hand pressed into the mud and felt warm. He looked down. Vila was bleeding. The side of her leg had torn open again. That same deep cut from before. But now the glowing blood wasn't stopping. It was spilling fast, mixing with the rain and burning the bark of the tree beneath them. Daniel's stomach twisted. That's not normal blood. It's not supposed to be outside me, she said through clenched teeth. If too much leaves, I won't recover. He looked at the bag. No med kit. Just a water bottle, a flashlight, and some duct tape. Hold on. Daniel ripped the bottom of his shirt and wrapped it around her leg, pressing hard. Vila winced. Her skin flickered, her eyes dimmed. Thank you, she whispered. Most people would have left me. I'm not most people, Daniel muttered. Thump. The mech was getting closer. Primary hybrid signature detected. Blood trail confirmed. Prepare containment. Daniel peeked through the bushes. The clone inside the gel, the fake Vila, was still floating, still asleep, but its face was twitching. She's waking up, Daniel said. No, Vila whispered, fear crawling into her voice. If she wakes up, she'll be faster, stronger, programmed to finish what I escaped from. Daniel thought for a moment, then grabbed the water bottle. What are you doing? She asked. He twisted it open and poured the water into the mud. Your kind uses water, right? Controls it? She nodded. Then use it. Vila looked at the small puddle, at her bleeding leg, and then at the machine closing in. She placed her hand in the muddy water and whispered something under her breath. The puddle began to glow. Then it rose, not clean, not clear, but dark, dirty water that shimmered like oil. It floated above them like a shield. The mech spotted it. It fired. The blast hit the water. It held, barely. A flash of steam burst out. Vila screamed. She collapsed to the ground, the water crashing beside her. Daniel grabbed her and ran. No plan. No direction. Just instinct. He found a small wooden shed ahead of collapsed, old, maybe a hunter's rest spot. He kicked open the door and dragged her inside. The place smelled like old gasoline and rust. But it had a sink and a hose. Daniel turned the valve. Water sputtered, coughed, then poured out cold and clear. He lifted Vila's head. You need this. She shook her head weakly. Not enough pressure. I need full flow. Daniel looked at the hose, then at the giant red lever behind the shed marked Water Main Boost. He didn't think. He pulled it. The hose roared to life, blasting water. Veela grabbed it, held it to her skin. Her eyes lit up like stars. Her wounds began to close. Her skin shimmered stronger, but the machine outside had found them. The shed's walls lit up red. Containment complete. Eliminate original. Deploy unit. The clone inside the mech's tank opened its eyes and smiled. The glass slid back. She stepped out. Barefoot. Same face. Same body, but no soul. Just cold eyes and a perfect posture. Veela saw her through the cracked door. She's not just a copy. She whispered, she's what they wanted me to be. Daniel tightened his grip on the wrench he'd found. Then let's show them what you really are. The clone Veela raised her hand. Her voice came out robotic. Emotionless. Unauthorized hybrid detected. Prepare for deletion. Veela stood on shaky legs, still wet, still glowing, but smiling. Let's see if she can bleed. To be continued. Comment below. Which Veela do you trust more? The scared one who begged to bathe, or the perfect one who never had to? Rain poured over the broken shed. Inside, Daniel stood with a rusted wrench in one hand and fear in his chest. Beside him, Veela's skin glowed with energy from the hose water. Her wounds sealed, but her eyes still heavy. Outside, her clone stood perfectly still in the storm. Same face. Same voice. No mercy. Original target locked, it said. Daniel Clark, accomplice. You will be neutralized. The clone didn't run. It glided. Step by step, calm, clean, confident. A puppet on invisible strings. Daniel whispered to Veela, can you take her? Veela shook her head. She's stronger, faster. They took the fear out of her and replaced it with rules. Daniel stared at the clone approaching. His hand tightened on the wrench. Then I break the rules. He charged. The clone's eyes flashed. She ducked the swing, twisted his arm, and slammed him into the wall. Hard. He fell. Veela screamed. The clone turned. Emotion detected. Weakness logged. But Veela didn't step back. She stepped forward and did something the clone wasn't programmed for. She hugged her, arms around her copy, cheek against cheek. Gentle, real. I'm sorry, Veela whispered. They made you to kill. But that's not your fault. For a moment. The clone paused. Just a flicker. Her eyes shifted. Confused. The real Veela closed her eyes. I know what they put inside you. I know what they took from you. But you can fight it. Then crack. The clone punched her in the stomach. Veela crumpled. Empathy rejected. Restore objective. Daniel forced himself up, stumbling toward the fight. But before he could reach her, a loud crash shook the trees behind them. A second figure stepped out of the rain. Another human. Tall, face half covered in black metal. Glowing red eye on one side. He looked just like Daniel, but older. Scarred. I was wondering when I'd get to meet myself, the man said with a smirk. Daniel froze. What the hell are you? The man stepped closer, boots crunching the mud. I'm the first version of you they made. The prototype. Didn't work out the way they wanted. He smiled darkly. Because I remembered things they didn't program in. Like love. Veela looked up, dazed. You're one of the rebels. I was, the older Daniel said. Then I got hunted down. Now I'm back to finish what they started. Or stop it, once and for all. Daniel shook his head. How many versions of me are there? Too many, the older one said. You were the template. Every time you showed kindness, they erased it. Every time you resisted, they copied it. But you? He pointed. You're the last real one. Suddenly, the clone Veela turned. Her hand lit up. 2 anomalies confirmed. Erase both. The air cracked with energy. Daniel dived toward Vila. Older Daniel rolled to the side, pulling a small device from his coat. He threw it. It landed at the clone's feet. Boom! A pulse of blue light blasted outward. Pure EMP. The clone twitched, screamed, then fell to her knees. Smoke rose from her back. She wasn't dead, but something was different. She looked up, confused. No orders. No voice in her head. Just silence. What am I? She whispered. Vela crawled forward, still weak. Now, you get to decide. The clone stared at her, then at Daniel, then at the sky. And ran. Not to attack, but into the forest. Free. For now. Daniel dropped the wrench. What the hell is going on? The older version of him stepped forward. You want answers? He said, come with me. There's a facility, underground, where it all started. Vila looked up. The water lab? He nodded. Yeah, and if we don't shut it down, next time, they won't just send a copy. Daniel frowned. Then what? The older version gave him a hard look. They'll replace you too. Comment below if you saw a future version of yourself. Would you trust him? Asterisk. They walked all night. Daniel, Vila, and the scarred older version of Daniel, who didn't say much unless he had to. The rain had stopped. The forest was quieter now. But the silence didn't feel safe. It felt like something was waiting. Lay limped beside Daniel, holding onto his arm for support. Her glow had faded. Not gone, but dimmer. You okay? He asked softly. She gave a small nod. I used too much energy too fast. The water helped, but not enough. Daniel glanced at the older man ahead. Why aren't you glowing? The older Daniel smirked without looking back. I stopped being human a long time ago. What's inside me doesn't glow, it burns. Vila shivered. They finally reached a rusted metal hatch half buried in dirt and moss. The older Daniel knelt, entered a code, and it creaked open. A ladder led down into the dark. You first, the older one said. Daniel hesitated. Ladies first? Vila looked at him serious. I'm not a lady. I'm a survivor. She climbed down. Daniel followed. Inside was a tunnel, long, cold, lined with broken screens and dried pipes. Old symbols on the walls, half human, half alien. Vila stared at them like they were ghosts. This place, she whispered. It's where they trained us and broke us. They reached a main chamber. A cracked, domed ceiling let moonlight in. In the center stood an old machine. Rusty, leaking, but humming softly. Is that the water unit? Daniel asked. Vela nodded slowly. It's the first one, the original. They called it the cleanser. Daniel stepped closer. What does it do? The older version answered. It copies what it touches, memory, biology, emotion, all through water. That's how they made her. He pointed at Vila. And that's how they made you. Daniel blinked. What are you talking about? You ever wonder why your house was picked? Why she ran to you? Daniel nodded. Because, the older one said, stepping closer. You're not the original either. Daniel felt the world tilt. What? You're one of the copies, Daniel. A successful one. You were made in this lab. Placed into a normal life. Watched for years. That's why she came to you. She was programmed to return to familiar code. Yours matched hers. Daniel stepped back. No, that's not possible. I remember everything. My childhood. My mother. Memories are stored in water, the older Daniel said. Just like they are in her. Vila touched Daniel's hand. That's why I trusted you. Your water felt real. Daniel pulled away. His breath caught. So, what am I? Some kind of test tube copy? No, she said. You're more than that, because you chose to help me. That wasn't programmed. That was you. The machine suddenly made a clicking sound. Lights blinked on. The water inside it turned red. The older Daniel growled. They know we're here. A voice echoed from the walls. Vila, Daniel 13, return to surface, submit for merging. Daniel stared at the others. What's merging? They want to take us, the older one said. Mix all the best parts, make one final version. One perfect soldier. Vila turned pale and erased the rest. Failure to comply will result in area deletion. Countdown. 10 minutes. Daniel stared at the machine. His whole life fake? His memories borrowed? His choices watched? And yet, he looked at Vela. She chose him, not because of programming, but because he gave her warmth. A towel. A chance. I'm done running, he said. He picked up a rusted pipe and slammed it into the machine. Sparks flew. Daniel, wait, Vila shouted, but it was too late. The dome ceiling cracked. A dark shape dropped in. Not a drone, not a clone. It was a liquid figure. Shifting, formless, part Vila, part Daniel, a mix. A final version. It stepped forward. Its voice echoed with both of their tones. Merge complete. Originals no longer required. Comment below. If a perfect version of you existed, would you destroy it to stay yourself? The figure stepped through the broken dome like a ghost made of water and wire. It wasn't male. It wasn't female. It was both. And neither. Vela stepped back. They did it. Daniel stared at the thing that looked like him, moved like him, but had Vila's glowing skin and calm stare. It was the merged version, the perfect hybrid, built to survive, built to replace. Designation, V13D, it said. Mission, remove flawed prototypes. Daniel tightened his grip on the broken pipe. His hands were bleeding. His arms were shaking. That's all we are to you? Flaws? Emotional data is inefficient. Choices create error. We do not require choice. Vila looked at Daniel. Her eyes were soft, tired, but burning with something that the clone could never have. She wanted to live. Not just exist. Live. The older Daniel moved beside them, limping from an old injury. We can't win a fight with it. Not the normal way. Then we don't fight it normal, Daniel said. He looked around the lab. Pipes, vats, tanks full of backup water. Data flowing through wet wires. He looked at Vila. You can control water, right? She nodded. Then flood this place. Her eyes widened. You'll drown. Only if you don't trust me. He turned back to the hybrid. You're perfect. Huh? Can't be killed. Correct. Then let's test that. He ran forward. The hybrid lifted its hand. Energy crackled. But Vila raised hers too, and every pipe in the room burst. Walls shattered. The ground shook. Water exploded out like a wave, crashing into the hybrid and slamming it against the far wall. It tried to reform, but Vila forced the water tighter, harder, swirling like a whirlpool. Daniel jumped through the chaos and shoved a metal rod into the main power port. Electricity burst through the room into the water. Into it, the hybrid screamed. No voice, just pain. Its body shimmered, liquid, metal code all twisting apart. It collapsed in on itself and turned to steam. Silence. The water calmed. Sparks popped and hissed from the machine. Vila fell to her knees, coughing, soaked. Daniel crawled over, pulled her into his arms. They didn't speak for a moment. Just breath. Just existed. Together. The older Daniel stood over the broken machine. They'll know it failed. Let them, Daniel said. Let them come. No, Vila said, standing slowly. They won't, because I'll leave. What? I can't stay here, she whispered. They'll keep sending things. People, copies. If I leave this planet, maybe they'll stop. Daniel looked at her. He wanted to say stay. He wanted to say I'll protect you. But he didn't single quotes to. Instead, he nodded. That I'm coming with you. Vila blinked. What? You begged me for water, he said softly, and I gave it. Not because I had to, because I wanted to, he smiled. So let me give you something else now. A future. Her lips trembled. You'd leave Earth? Everything you know? He shrugged. Wasn't real anyway. Not all of it. But this? This is. She touched his hand. We don't know where we're going, Daniel grinned. Good. Makes it harder for them to follow. The older Daniel nodded slowly. There's a ship hidden near the mountain. Take it. I'll wipe the data trail. Vila stepped toward him. Will you be okay? He smiled sadly. I'm the past. You're the future. Go live it. As dawn broke over the forest, the two of them walked away, hand in hand toward a sky full of stars. She had come to his house begging for water. He gave her something better. He gave her a reason to stay alive. The end. Comment below. Would you follow someone to another world if it meant giving them a second chance?